What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, and in this video I answer a question that has recently been popping up in my questions and answers feed quite often, and that is KDP dying? And while I find that an interesting question, you're going to see my real reaction here in just a minute. So without further ado, I'm excited to find out what I think. I hope you're excited to find out what I think, so let's do this. Okay, so here's one of the actual questions that I've gotten in my actual feed. And while it's probably going to be the only one that I'm going to actually mention because it might be the only one that I have time to answer, there have been several like this, particularly the part about people having to wait days and days to get their book approved. So let's go ahead and talk about this in more detail. But first off, let's go ahead and read what Salima here has to say. It says, the breaking news are low content books are taking much longer to be approved, which is a fact, and Amazon is cracking down on them. It is unlikely ever to sell any copies. Ingram refuses to keep them in the catalog, and KDP pretty much follows suit. So let's go and talk about some of these things, as many of them I've already actually addressed on the channel, sprinkled throughout in a lot of the actual videos and content that I do make. Now, first off, it's kind of a little bit surprising to me that a savvy business owner would actually make a comment like this. This seems more like somebody that's younger, inexperienced, and doesn't understand that this is just the way that business works. It doesn't matter what business you're in, sometimes there will be highs and sometimes there will be lows. The same exact thing actually happened in Amazon FBA years and years ago. At one point, it was so simple to succeed at FBA that any ass clown could put a product up on Amazon and instantaneously make six figures in a single month. And you saw them popping up everywhere and anywhere, people having a tremendous amount of success. And the only people that were using this to their advantage were the people selling courses. So as a result, you saw a lot of common people become very successful overnight. And chances are that most of those actual people are no longer in business. And I've known many of them that just got out of Amazon when it got tougher. And trust me when I say this, it will get tougher no matter which platform you decide to settle upon. So, as I said before, this is clearly somebody who doesn't understand that it comes with its highs and its lows. So let's talk about the other things that this comment says, as well as how we can make adjustments to make sure that we do survive that actual point where most will quit because it is getting tougher. Okay, so let's talk about the fact that books are in fact getting longer and longer to get approved. I recently put a book up, I want to say about 2.5 months ago, and it took over 7 days to actually get approved into Amazon. However, luckily it had no edits or no modifications that I needed to make on my end. And now I have heard recently from some people, particularly those that are brand new, that their book has taken as long as 10 days to actually get approved in Amazon, which is a very long time. I think we can all agree on that. However, to assume that it's because Amazon is cracking down on them, I'm not even sure exactly what that means, but let's just say they are. We have noted that for a very long time, Amazon was very much against duplicate content and making too many books similar, particularly on the inside, and then just slapping any old cover on the book. So I think that does show a move on Amazon's part that they would rather see quality over quantity. But we can also possibly think that this could be because of the fact that Amazon, again, is feeling effects of the actual coronavirus and the fact that things are getting very bad once again. And if we recall previously what happened when coronavirus was in full effect, books were delayed a huge amount of time, particularly with shipping. Therefore, it backed them up for quite some time and it took a while to get back to normal. That could very well be felt at the present time. And plus, the simple fact that more and more people are getting into this business because a lot of people have a lot of time on their hands. They're sitting at home. They don't have anything to do, and they're looking for a free way to make money online. And well, Kindle allows people to get that free way. So you can start a brand new business with very little money. All you need is to learn design and or hire a graphic designer, which is increasingly getting cheaper because of the fact that many of them are available on Fiverr. So it brings a whole different volume of problems that we might not ever have seen in the past. So I can agree that the days of spraying and praying and putting up as many books as possible on Kindle is slowly dying, and that at some point Amazon will more than likely put into effect many changes within the Kindle platform. However, I still think it's completely asinine to throw in the towel and say, oh, the sky is falling, Kindle is done, it's dead, we're never gonna make any money, everything is unlikely to sell, and let's just quit. It'd be the same as me saying, oh my God, my toys are selling like complete dog shit and they're never going to sell. Nobody's buying toys anymore. Let me just throw in the towel and quit, despite the fact that I've made over $5 million selling toys alone on Amazon. That's just completely ridiculous and would be completely absurd and irrational to have that type of thinking. So for those of you guys that are diehard, that have been in this business for quite some time, I would shut out the noise and I'll kind of explain to you what the game plan should be on your part and what adjustments Amazon will make at some point to make this a little bit more difficult of a platform to actually just jump into. Now, the biggest biggest thing of all is to note that Amazon is becoming a pay-to-play platform, and they did this as well with FBA in the past. And anything that is happening in Kindle right now has happened before with FBA in the past, as Amazon seems to mimic its own internal algorithms as well as those of Google. So if we talk about past algorithm changes, let's talk about the biggest one, that now there's no longer the point in time where you just slap a product up there and then it sells. On Amazon, it's largely, again, become a pay-to-play platform, and I cannot stop stressing this enough, as what that will usually mean is the books that will survive and the books that do get a ton of sales are going to be those that are willing to invest their money into pay-per-click advertising on Amazon. And I'm not just talking about on Amazon. If you're willing to do it off of Amazon and bring in external traffic from Facebook and or Google and or Pinterest and or any one of those other platforms, Amazon will notice it because they can see where all referring traffic is coming from, and therefore, as a result, they will reward you for doing this. It's the same exact thing that they do with FBA. Now let's address what Amazon might do to make this harder for brand new people to come in and or people that are currently producing a lot of books. It just might get a little harder. So let's talk about that. First and foremost, they could actually make it more difficult to jump in, just as they did with merch. Merch approvals, as you know, can take quite some time, and a lot of people, they just flat out reject. So I have seen that a lot of people in KDP that are from a foreign country usually get in quite easily, whereas within merch, it's increasingly impossible to get in if you live in any country other than the ones that Amazon does approve. Now, the other two things that they could do is, first off, they could copy merch's current system, where if you don't get a sale for a certain period of time, then your shirt will be removed from the catalog and it'll no longer be seen. Now, with this part, you can at some point later put the shirt in. I always like to make a small little change. However, a lot of people still have success just relisting the shirt after a certain period of time. Now, the other thing that they could just do is not even tell you about it and just allow the shirt to fall off the face of the earth. And we've actually covered this in a previous video, how you can tell whether a shirt is de-indexed and or just doesn't rank, which, again, if you guys forgot, I will show you here in just a minute. All right, so the example I'm going to show you with is a book that is a pug calendar. So the book that we're going to show is this particular book. Let's go ahead and put a pug calendar. And the first thing I'm going to check with pug calendar is I'm going to hit search here with the keyword pug calendar. And now I've got a book ASIN. I'm going to use an extension called AMZ Run. So if you need that extension, it's fantastic. It's free, and it will help you be able to take a look at where your actual product ranks in the Amazon algorithm. And again, that is where it ranks. So I'm going to look for this particular ASIN. And then I'm going to hit, after I already hit search, I'm going to hit get location, and I'm going to sit back, relax, and allow it to do its magic. And you'll see that there at the bottom, it's kind of coming up with a big old long string. So it does take some time sometimes, and it's going to go through the actual pages and find out where this ranks. So it's already moving, and you can clearly see it's going to different pages. So we can see that the actual ASIN that I entered is ranked on page 2 for the keyword pug calendar. Now, again, I want to remind you that that is where a product is ranked. There is a chance that you are not ranked for pug calendar. So if I grab some random ASIN and put in the keyword pug calendar and it was not at all ranking for that, it would show a dog page or an error page. And that would just simply mean that you are not ranked for that particular keyword. But now let's not talk about being ranked. Let's talk about seeing if we are actually indexed, because when this person left this comment, what it basically is saying is that it says KDP followed suit to throw these books off the actual catalog. So let's go ahead and take a look. How can we tell if this actual ASIN is indexed, which means it's technically still in the Amazon catalog? So what we'll go ahead and do is enter the ASIN followed by a colon and then the keyword that you're trying to see if you're actually indexed for. So I'm going to go ahead and put pug calendar. So if we scroll down and see, we should be able to see that actual product. Here it is right here. And it usually will come a little bit after the sponsored products, but you have to basically put ASIN, colon, and then followed by keyword. Don't put any space. You might not get the same results. And then look for your product. If it pops up, it basically means it is indexed, which means it is 100% in the actual Amazon algorithm and in the catalog. If you cannot find it using that word, it means one of two things. Either your actual product is not optimized for that keyword, or yes, in fact, you are de-indexed. So I would take a look at what keywords you were actually shooting for, the main ones, and I would run this same actual exercise on that and see if you pop up. Again, if you do not pop up, it means you are de-indexed and you have been removed from the Amazon catalog for one reason or another. We don't know that yet. Or you're just not optimized for it. So if it is in your title and you don't show up, then you are 100% in trouble. Okay, so now comes the question, what can we do with our books in order to prevent this from happening to us? Well, first and foremost, I think we've already seen that Amazon is, number one, quality over quantity. So you don't want to just slap a cover on any interior of a book if you're not going to change it up that much, because at some point after that, Amazon's going to get sick and tired of it and they will remove you from their actual catalog, and they could potentially suspend and or ban your account. Now, I've never heard of a banned KDP account unless you're actually doing trademark infringement, but I'm pretty sure it does happen, and Amazon is infamous for not only banning accounts, suspending accounts, but also keeping your money that you've already actually made, so you can count that money goodbye. Now, the second thing that you can actually do is start paying to play and making sure that your quality books are the ones that you're proudest of, that you do actually run Amazon pay-per-click on. So you definitely want to get better at that and make sure that you study it, you practice it, and you optimize constantly just so that you don't bleed money like I have in some instances. Number three, you want to get better at keyword research, and you want to check and see if your books are actually selling, and if they're not, you want to make it a point to start rotating in some additional long tail keywords. There's a lot of instances where beginners especially will shoot for really high level keywords that have thousands and thousands of results, and as a result, they don't sell anything. So you want to make sure that you put in some long tail as well as some middle level keywords, especially if you are not running PPC. Now, the fourth thing that you might want to do is you might want to start niching down. So if you're going for very competitive actual categories and or niches, then you definitely want to niche it down and try and look for categories underneath that, or longer tail books and less competitive books. Now, number five thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you have quite a few books in the pipeline, similarly to what Jade Summer did. That way the 10 days doesn't affect you whatsoever, and you have a constant pipeline of books that you're uploading. So having only one book makes it seem like you're having to sit and wait forever for one copy, whereas if you have a pipeline of books, then you constantly have books being uploaded into Amazon, and therefore it doesn't really affect you so much, because the waiting game is the toughest game, especially for brand new people. And remember, again, Kindle is not like merch, whereas you have a limit or a tiering system. They could potentially do that at some point in order to combat some of the things that they're doing. So you want to make sure that you have a good, steady flow of books ready to pop in so that it doesn't seem like you're waiting forever. Take advantage of this before they actually make changes, and then basically we're all stuck waiting and in a tiered system. And then last and possibly the most important thing that you can take from this and all the other videos that I've been doing lately is start to build an email list outside of Amazon. That way you have a solid customer base that you can send an email out to, particularly when you launch brand new books. This will help you get that external traffic that Amazon loves. It'll help Amazon love your book even more, and therefore propel it into the organic top of the ranks, thus giving you more sales and pretty much making every single book you put out a huge success, no matter what the book is. And lastly, if you do build that brand, then you will be able to sell it in the future and get a big payday. Just take a look at brands like Jade Summer and Modern Kid Press. Both and many others are poised to do exactly that. Finally, my last closing words to you guys is, just when we see a couple comments like this, does that mean that we're going to throw in the towel? My answer to that is absolutely not. There will be a good number of people that will see that and will get discouraged. They'll be brand spanking new, and instead of jumping into a business which is pretty much ripe and for the picking, they'll make a decision as to not jump in there, when the reality is that we have no idea who this person is or what comments that they're making. But we just have to understand that things will always be changing, and those that stay and adjust then could potentially reap the benefits, and those that just go away, it's going to be a never-ending cycle for them in business and life, because pretty much at the end of the day, anything worth doing takes time, effort, and energy. So hopefully you put your time, effort, and energy to making this business continue to grow, and I look forward to seeing you guys and girls in another video.